Doug Eddings, what in the actual fuck? As many of you may have seen, we saw some of the most egregious calls that we have seen all season long in the Diamondbacks' loss to the Giants when Doug Eddings was back behind home plate calling balls and strikes in this game. Now, this isn't the only game particularly that the Diamondbacks have had problems with a goddamn umpire being a nuisance, nor is it just only the Diamondbacks related, right? We just had a weird situation with the Yankees series where the goddamn ref or umpire was dictating the game and changing things. But holy shit, Damon, the amount of just bad calls we saw from Doug Eddings, that was like one part of it. But it's like this culture of the umpire as a job where even though you're wrong, even though you're having a bad fucking night behind the plate, you're still allowed to go out there, take your mask off, Mad Dog Robbie Ray, and try to instigate some sort of fucking, back and forth where you can toss him from the game and literally dictate in some way the outcome of the game. And this is, like, when I see this and I see just this one example of bad umpiring, I am immediately like, give me robot umps tomorrow. The ABS system cannot come fast enough next year, and I don't even want the ABS system. I just want them to go the fuck away. It's just a problem with baseball, and I am convinced baseball would be better off with them not back there calling balls and strikes. You still need a home plate umpire. There still needs to be somebody standing there for when a guy comes in to score, and you know, whatever. You can have your little ump show and your power trip when you're calling outs and stuff. I don't care, but the balls and strikes thing is just driving me nuts.
Derek, let me just start this thing off and say how fucking good it feels to hear you cuss, to be able to just let it fucking fly.
This is D-Backs After Dark.
Welcome to D-Backs After Dark.
Welcome in. We get fucking hot right away around here.
Get comfortable.
Yeah.
Get yourself maybe like a
little beverage.
Yeah, maybe a nice little nightcap.
Got myself a little.
Stir yourself an old fashioned. Yeah, how about it? But let me just start this off. This show, we're going to start trying to pump out a lot more of these D-Backs After Dark reaction style shows, Derek, to like the live events that are happening.
Don't worry about it.
But I think in this circumstance, a lot of the time it's going to be me up here screaming, yelling.
Yes, it's me this time, though.
I'm Damon Dog. You're going to have me on the leash, holding me back. Damon, don't keep it to Ohtani in prison. That's as far as we're going to go. Yeah. But in this circumstance, I think I'm going to be that guy here. I want to play devil's advocate for a second, Derek. Is there any element of you that likes sitting up here and doing this after a night like what Doug Eddings did tonight and being like, man, fuck these guys?
Well, yes.
Because everyone loves to have a villain that they can throw shit at and say, that's the fucking problem. He's the evil man.
Yeah, but
Doug Eddings.
You're right. But the problem here is that this particular call had too much of an impact on the game. And again, the whole Diamondback stuff, we covered that on the show. You go watch that. We're not going to cover whether Zach Gallen, shit the bed there and should have been mentally stronger after giving up that walk, right?
Two things can be true.
Two things can be true. But that call had a huge impact. And then, of course, just for the idea that one run doesn't score, this ends up being a 5-3 loss. You never know if it's a 4-3 loss. If they ever even get that fourth run, you don't know the alternate timeline that plays out if Doug Eddings doesn't make that terrible call. My problem is that too many people still want the human element in the game of baseball. And I am okay because the human element is still going to be there and it's going to be vast. But what I feel like is, especially on a night where an umpire is having a bad night, you are seeing time and time again them obviously having a lot of shit thrown their way because you have two dugouts telling them that they're bad at their job and that they're having an awful fucking night.
20 to 50,000 fans as well.
All screaming that. Yeah, right. Telling you what a bum you are, right? But you're going to compound it now by going and looking for a fight. Looking at the dugout, being like, what did you say? You watch what you say, looking at Robbie Ray, hey, what do you say? Taking off your mask. Like, that's bullshit because not only are you impacting the
Christian
game.
Walker got ejected for clapping.
For clapping in the dugout. And
you know how hyper aware you have to be of what's going on? And it was a sarcastic, passive-aggressive clap, But
are we not allowed to do sarcastic, passive aggressive
I
claps?
forgot exactly why it happened, but the second that it happened, he looked at Christian Walker to see what his reaction was going to be, because he wanted a reaction so that he could make the show about him. And I think that's exactly what you're talking about tonight. Like a guy who clearly, like, not only are you making mistakes, but you want all the eyes on you. And like you're almost like trying to like deflect it by like making the game about something else.
Right, exactly. But and my problem here is that this human element is becoming too much of the game. I know it's always been a part of the game, but when you're starting to see other sports, specifically football, gravitate in a number of ways where the referees are taken more and more out of deciding the game. And even when there's a system put into place to make sure you can double check their call and make sure they got the right call, right? It feels like the NFL got it right. Another thing it feels like the NFL got it right with is their new system that they've instituted of their first down, where they can check with cameras in the stadiums exactly where the ball was. They have new technology. It's supposed to be far more accurate than the chain gang, which is an outdated and antiquated system, much like having a man stand behind home plate and use his human eyes to call balls and strikes when we have a goddamn radar system that tells you where the fuck the ball went and if it crossed the plate.
An old fucking man, by the
way.
An
old fucking man that's going to start shit with you when you tell him his eyes are bad and he's making bad calls, right?
This isn't a guy who's got 20/20 vision necessarily, maybe with contact. But.
Like, the umpire ego is so big, and they protect their job of calling balls and strikes so much that even though we have this perfect system in place, we're only allowed to use it for reviewing calls, and that still hasn't even been instituted in baseball. I'm just sick of this shit. I'm sick of umpires having an impact on the game. That should not be a thing that has an impact on the game. I said it on the show, but I feel like we're moving into a world where, based on sports gambling, based on fantasy, based on all this stuff, we just want the call to be right. We want it to be right. We want it to be fair. We're okay with losing as long as if we lost, we should have lost. We didn't lose because our goddamn starting pitcher got tossed from the game because the fucking umpire was having a bad night and he started shit with him. And then when he told him he was a fucking bum, he kicked him out of the game in the third inning, and we had to scramble to get our bullpen up and going. You know, that's the shit that I don't want to see.
Imagine you had the under in the Giants Diamondbacks game tonight on Tuesday, September 9th here, and you know, you lost it by a run. And the run that walked should have been a strikeout looking. And instead of winning your bet, you lose. And I think that there's an element to that I actually, as a gambling man, you know, Derek.
That's why I appeal to your core.
I can appeal. That appeals to me a little bit, where I'm like, you know what? Like that would really fucking suck. Yeah. And so I totally hear that. And I think, if you can minimize the impact as much as possible, it's clearly a good old boys club. And I think that, the NFL has done some good things. Right. But the NFL also, when it comes to like challenging calls, has like an issue with their refs getting egotistical and being like, we're not changing the call when it like clearly is like the wrong call or whatever.
That is where MLB has it right by throwing it to an impartial third party in New York.
So they do some things right, they do some things wrong, but definitely seems like it's an antiquated, outdated system here that you know, like if you're with the times, it certainly isn't a 70-year-old man calling balls and strikes by a millimeter off.
Here's the thing, though. You play baseball. And at the end of the day, would you, as a baseball player, prefer to have that person back there and that human element in there, especially with your mouth?
Derek, I know this is going to shock some people, but I would definitely show up the umpire a little bit when there was a call I disagreed with.
But would you work them too? I mean, would you do things that perhaps made calls go in your favor and stuff too? Like, I mean, that's the human element that I think people that play the game are talking about, is that like you can have an umpire up there who, like, part of the like strategy could be like, hey, you know, Aaron Boone's going to go off on him. So like, let's be extra nice. And then when like Aaron Boone inevitably is like furious with him and screaming at him from the other dugout, he'll start giving us some calls. Like, is that human element something that as a player you're looking for, or like?
I think as a catcher, for sure, you're told as a catcher to work the umpires. So
sure,
I think that absolutely there's an element of that going on at all times in every game, where, you know, and that's why I think it's especially meaningful to me when a catcher is shaking his head at a call that an ump makes against him, because that guy has to then go talk to that same umpire later that inning. And it's like, did you just hurt yourself if there's a borderline call? Because now all of a sudden he's pissed at Jose Herrera.
Yeah.
Because you just shook your head and like disrespected his call and his opinion.
Right.
But yeah, I like that's a thing that shouldn't happen necessarily.
That's it. That's the thing about it, is just because someone's muttering under their breath or whatever the case may be, I like you're going to go out there and start crap with them. Like, don't get me wrong. There are times where they fucking completely deserve it, right? They deserve to be screamed at. They deserve all of the criticism. And sometimes, even though they deserve it, people still go too far, which is another part of the game, right? Like, another part of the game is literally coming up to the umpire and telling him that he's, fucking blind and an idiot and kicking dirt on him.
That's what I was saying off the top, where I'm like, there's kind of a part that's like fun about being like, we're all gonna shit talk the umpire. Like, what a loser.
Well,
and I think I would miss an element of that. There are things that I also would enjoy about, getting kind of transitioning the umpires out of the game. But there's something to that is inherently fun.
And it's inherently part of baseball.
Yeah.
Right? Especially baseball.
Mm-hmm.
More than maybe any other sport. Like,
basketball refs are I don't know. Those are
don't even get me fucking started on Scott Foster.
They're diabolical.
I'll do a whole hour
I feel like
of D-backs after dark about
like
Scott
baseball
Foster.
Umps are like, it's a little bit more objective, and like, when a guy's wrong, but he's clearly getting egotistical about it. In the NBA, like, a ref will like straight up just be calling something that is just not what's going on the floor, and you're like, cool, man. So I'm glad we determined this one, what the league called in before. But
100%. Like, Doug Eddings tonight at least was terrible calling both pitchers, right? He screwed up both pitchers.
It wasn't Tony Brothers going out there and being like, somehow the Clippers shot 42 free throws and the Suns shot 8. And you're like, what?
You are really trying to fucking piss me off tonight with some of these comparisons you're using. Good job. Well done.
Hey, man, that's what we do on D-backs After Dark.
That's right. That's what we do. Well, we thank you guys for stopping by. We appreciate you. Of course, you know where we are. I'm at Cap_Caveman with a K. He's at Damon Dog with a DAWG, but we all live at PHNX_D-backs. Thank you guys so much for your time. Don't forget to check out future installments of D-backs After Dark. We will make sure to keep bringing you all of the curse words. And until then, have a great night. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's way more fun when you can say the word fuck.
Fuck yeah.